Malaki at marami ang kinakaharap na hamon sa mga katutubo sa ating bansa. May tinatawag na development aggression na lumiliit ng lumilit ang lugar kung saan sila nakapamumuhay na naaayon sa kanilang kinagisnang kultura at tradisyon. Isa sa pangunahing problema na kinakaharap ng ating mga katutubo ay ang malawakang pagmimina kung saan kailangan ng malakihang paghukay na nagiging sanhi ng pagkasira ng kanilang tahanan. Nariyan din ang malawakang pangunguha ng troso o kaya ay ang kabaliktaran nito na pagbuo ng mga nature reserves na nagiging dahilan naman para pagbawalan sila na kumuha ng ikabubuhay mula sa sarili nilang lupain. Ang mga ganitong pangyayari ay nagiging sanhi ng hindi pagkakaintindihan at pinagsisimula ng militarisasyon sa mga lupain ng katutubo. Kinailangang itatag ng National Commission on Indigenous People ang pangunahing ahensya ng gobyerno na nagpapatupad ng mga tuntunin, plano at programa na nagbibigay proteksyon sa mga karapatan ng mga katutubong Pilipino, lalo na may kaugnayan sa iba't ibang tradisyon at paniniwala. Ang NCIP ay kaakibat at nagtataguyod para mapalakas ang komunidad ng mga katutubo. Kilalanin ng lubos ng kanilang karapatan at tumutulong sa mapag-isa ang bansang Pilipinas sa napakalawak at makulay na pagkakaiba ng mga indigenous cultural communities. APRUB sa amin ang ahensyang ito. Ako si Jinky Pearl Lustica.
And we are back mga kaibigan sa palatuntunang ginawa para sa inyo ang APRUB. Sino na nga yung nagsabi na ang hindi lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makararating sa paroroonan? Kung gaano ka-significant yung statement na yan, aalamin natin ngayong hapon dahil kasama natin ngayon si Attorney Basilio Wandag, Executive Director ng National Commission on Indigenous People. Sir, Attorney, magandang hapon po.
Ambaru magayod no. Elaine, that's a native way of saying good afternoon.
Native where exactly?
In Kalinga.
Kalinga, because attorney is from Kalinga, Apayao. Okay. Sir, unahin muna natin definition of term. Pag sinabi ba nating indigenous people, indigenous peoples, sino ba ito?
Ito yung tawag sa constitution natin, indigenous cultural communities.
Okay.
Pero internationally, they are called indigenous peoples. No?
Yeah.
Ito yung mga grupo o homogeneous societies ang gamit sa batas na who've been living in communally defined territories,
right,
and they have retained some or all of their cultural practices,
right,
and they became differentiated from our majority brothers and sisters Filipinos because they have retained their culture. They have not been so influenced by Western influence, and they have not been conquered by our colonizers.
So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila nawala during the conquests, hindi sila nawala during the wars, hindi sila nawala during the missions ng maraming mga bansa dito sa ating bansa.
That's right, that's right.
Okay. Now, sir, pag sinabi nating indigenous peoples, yung sinasabi mo na yung sa local, no, yung community, what was that again?
Indigenous cultural communities.
Indigenous cultural communities. Meron kasing mga tao na ang tawag ay tribo. And that's a misnomer now. Why was it, bakit hindi na siya ginagamit ngayon, yung word na tribo?
Yeah, probably our lawmakers could not get a united definition of what tribes are in the Philippines. Alam mo naman, anthropologists ang magsasabi niyan eh.
Right.
So they would rather refer to a term that is more inclusive. Kaya ang ginamit dyan, ethno-linguistic groups.
Okay. Maganda yung sinabi mo, sir, kanina, no? Even behind the cameras, we were talking about ethno-linguistic groups.
Yeah.
Sabi mo, merong 100 plus so far na alam na natin na ethno-linguistic groups. Tama ba yun?
Yeah, that's right. At least 110
okay,
ethno-linguistic groups.
Right. Pag sinabi nating ethno-linguistic group, nandun yung word na linguistic. So, meron silang, ang tawag dito, uniqueness when it comes to their language.
That's right, that's right.
Okay. At gusto natin liwanagin dito kasi nung bata ako, no, huwag nyo na itanong kung kailan yon. Ang tawag dyan ay dialect.
Okay na.
Ngayon, hindi po siya tinatawag na dialect, it's actually a language. Could you define for us, sir, kung anong difference ng dialect sa language?
Alam mo kasi, there are, what do you call this, languages which are true for big groups of indigenous peoples,
right,
but somehow may mga diferensya according to villages, no? According to villages. Let's talk of Kalinga. May Kalinga language.
Okay.
Pero each village in Kalinga would have a different way of saying certain things.
Right.
Nagiging dialect na yun for the village.
Ayun. I-translate natin dun sa sa language na Tagalog kasi maraming nakakaintindi Metro Manila, no. Yung Tagalog ang Bulacan, may Tagalog ng Manila, may Tagalog ng Tanay Rizal. Tagalog lahat 'yan. Pero kapag ka sa Bulacan, meron na siyang tono. Pero pagdating naman sa dako ng Rizal, yung dingding nagiging ring-ring.
Sa Cavite.
Yung sandok nagiging sanrok. So, yun yung dialect. Pag sinabi nating languages, totally different, totally unique from another language.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating. Lingwahe pa lang ang pinag-uusapan natin yan, mga kaibigan. Sir, from you, no, being the Executive Director of the National Commission on Indigenous People, why is there such a pressing need para protektahan at pangalagaan ang ating indigenous peoples?
Nung ginawa yung 1987 Constitution, naging debate na yan. Dahil nakita ng mga indigenous peoples na binabaliwala ang mga karapatan nila.
Right.
And so, nalagay sa Constitution natin na kailangan i-recognize ang rights of indigenous peoples.
Okay.
Pero kinakailangan ng batas. So, after the Constitution was ratified, gumawa ang Kongreso ng batas, ito ang Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, para sabihin kung ano ang mga karapatan ng mga katutubo na dapat i-recognize ng government, protektahan, at saka i-promote. Ganun ang purpose of this. There was a felt need talaga sa mga indigenous peoples. And you know, when your rights are not recognized, it becomes a reason for unpeace.
Right.
No? Unpeace. And our state would not like unpeace, especially when it involves a very big portion of our population, because indigenous peoples are about 14 million already.
Right. Okay, malaking chunk ng ating population ang bahagi ng indigenous peoples natin.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Now, sir, could you give me kasi yung mga nasa Metro Manila, yung mga nakapag-aral, yung mga updated sa current affairs, alam nila ang rights nila basically.
Yes.
Anong rights ang usually ay nava-violate sa ating indigenous peoples?
You know, meron silang 4 na major rights.
Okay.
Ang tawag namin dito, baskets or bundles of rights. Number 1 dyan, yung rights to ancestral domains and lands.
Okay.
Alam mo, malawak ang ancestral domains ng indigenous peoples noon. But much of this had been taken away from them. Konti na lang na iwan. So, nagkaroon ng mga violations.
Right,
no?
right. So that's one, yung lupa nila. Okay,
Second, yung
teritoryo.
right to social justice and human rights. No? Social justice and human rights. Nagkaroon ng mga discriminations against them. And of course, that would not be good.
Right.
No? And then, third, yung right to empowerment and self-determination. Alam mo, may mga pamamaraan ng mga katutubo na kailangan we have to promote and protect for as long as they are good for society.
Right.
No? Mga technologies nila, may kultura sila na talagang promotive of national unity and development. May mga customary laws sila na magandang gamitin sa pagkaayos ng mga disputes, mga conflicts, ganun. At saka yung ika-4 na bundle of right, yung cultural integrity. Now, we must preserve and promote their culture. Doesn't mean to say that culture is static, no? Pero sila rin ang pwedeng magpalit o mag-improve ng culture nila. Kagaya ng mga expressions of culture like dances and songs, no? They were able to preserve these, and in fact, these are considered heritage for the Philippines.
Correct.
Pati yung mga material culture nila. Di ba? Yung mga rice terraces, mga pottery, mga artworks nila. So, these are the 4 bundles of rights na gustong i-recognize, i-protect, at i-promote ng Estado.
Okay. At itong mga rights na ito, sabi mo nga, sir, kanina heritage, no? This makes part of what we are as Filipinos. At ito ba yung main concern ng National Commission for Indigenous People?
Yes. Precisely. The Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, which recognizes the rights of indigenous peoples, created the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples as the primary government agency to see to it that these rights are promoted and that the well-being of the indigenous peoples are also promoted.
Well taken care of. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go into details about these 4 rights ng indigenous people at kung kayo ay may kaibigan o kung kayo mismo ay miyembro ng ilan sa ating mga indigenous peoples, no, ay makinig po kayo kasi sasabihin na sa inyo ni attorney kung ano-ano ang mga pwede ninyong makuha na proteksyon dito sa komisyon na ito at saka kung paano rin kayo makatutulong para yung iba pang mga indigenous peoples natin ay manatili, ma-promote, maprotektahan ang inyong mga rights. Huwag kayo aalis, magbabalik po kami.